Welcome back to another explainer. All right, grab your imaginary time machines because today we are dialing the clock back about 1500 years across the amazing Indian subcontinent. Imagine trading your smartphone, your video games, and riding in cars for a world of majestic war elephants, thundering chariots, and smart scholars riding on ancient palm leaves. We are diving into a vibrant, living world full of ambitious kings, jaw-dropping monuments, and some seriously epic rivalries. Are you ready? Let's go. So here is a big question to kick things off. What actually happens when a giant empire falls? Picture this. You step out of your time machine right after the mighty Gupta Empire has completely collapsed. Now, the Gupta Empire was like the undisputed heavyweight champion, kind of like the biggest, toughest kid on the playground who kept everyone else in line. But when that champion suddenly leaves, what happens to the playground? Does everything just fall apart into total chaos? Or is it the dawn of a thrilling new era where fresh challengers step up to claim the prize? Okay, here is our quick roadmap for this post-classical era covering the 6th to the 10th centuries. It's an action-packed schedule. We are going to witness the rise of the Chalukya dynasty, the start of King Harsha's powerful rule in 606, an epic three-way tug-of-war for power called the tripartite struggle, and the emergence of the mighty Chola Empire later on. Let's get moving. Part 1, an age of new kingdoms. Let's jump right in and explore the vibrant new powers that popped up once that old empire faded away. So instead of one giant empire bossing everyone around, the massive Indian subcontinent was just buzzing with these dynamic regional powers. Think of dynasties as giant, powerful families passing down the crown, almost like a relay race. Now, some people think the end of an empire means total disaster. Well, actually, scratch that. As you travel around this area, you see it was the exact opposite. Take the Pala dynasty over in Bengal, for example. They weren't just out fighting battles. They were busy supporting massive universities like Vikramasila. Imagine a huge school with absolutely no computers or smartboards, just thousands of the greatest minds gathering from all over to map the stars in astronomy and share brilliant new philosophies. It was literally like different neighborhoods competing to build the ultimate clubhouse of knowledge. And if we travel way down to the far south, your jaw would just drop. The Pallava dynasty was literally carving magnificent temples straight out of solid rock right by the sea at Mamallapuram. I mean, think about the incredible teamwork and sheer grit that takes. No heavy machinery, no electric cranes or power tools, just thousands of hours of master sculptors using basic iron chisels and heavy hammers, chipping away at massive boulders in the baking hot sun. They transformed rough, jagged stone into breathtaking art that has survived ocean waves crashing against it for over 1,000 years. Absolutely wild. Moving on to Part 2, Meet King Harsha. Let's head back up north to Kannauj, a wealthy city right by the river Ganga, to meet one of the absolute standouts of this entire era. Okay, imagine digging in the dirt in your backyard and uncovering a small, heavy desk of tarnished metal. You would be holding actual ancient pocket money used during the time of King Harsha. These silver coins were minted well over a millennium ago. Back then, obviously, there were no credit cards or paper bills, so silver was the universal way you traded for things like beautiful silk or war horses. And why do you think a king would put his face or his special symbols on the money? It was the ultimate ancient advertising. Every time someone bought a loaf of bread, they were staring right at the king's power. Holding one of these today is literally holding a piece of a king's legacy in the palm of your hand. So, taking the throne in the year 606 CE, King Harsha belonged to the Pushya Bhuti dynasty. That was his family's ruling team. He was an incredibly ambitious leader who dreamed of uniting all those fragmented kingdoms of northern India under one massive banner. But what makes Harsha so fascinating is that he wasn't just some tough guy swinging a sword on the battlefield. He was a deep lover of culture. In fact, he was kind of the ultimate host. He practically paid the absolute best poets, writers, and smartest scholars just to hang out at his royal court. He wanted his kingdom to be famous for its intelligence and creativity, not just its military might. Part 3, the lightning-fast Hunas. Because hey, history isn't just made by poets writing beautiful verses. Sometimes it's shaped by terrifying threats from the outside. Stepping back a tiny bit in time, we run into the Hunas. These guys were a massive, terrifying threat that fundamentally changed the map of India. They were nomads originating from the harsh terrains of Central Asia. Being a nomad means they didn't live in permanent brick houses, they lived their entire lives on the move. Because of that rugged lifestyle, they basically lived on horseback. Their riding skills were just unreal. and they were expert archers. Imagine a thundering army appearing out of nowhere, riding at full speed, able to turn around in their saddles and shoot arrows with perfect accuracy. Their lightning-fast hit-and-run attacks were brutal. In fact, their relentless invasions are what really helped weaken that older mighty Gupta Empire we talked about, which completely knocked down the doors for all the new regional kingdoms we've been exploring. Part 4. Temples and Southern Rivalries. So, with all these fierce warriors and competitive new kingdoms popping up, could an ambitious ruler like King Harsha just sweep through and conquer the entire continent? Well, if you look at the map, you realize pretty quickly how incredibly vast the land actually is. It's definitely not just a flat walk. You've got massive, jagged mountain ranges, dense, untamed forests, and wide, roaring rivers standing right between the north and the south. So when King Harsha looked southward from his massive empire, staring across that huge geographical divide, he quickly realized he wasn't the only major player on the board. Those southern dynasties had been building up their own incredible wealth and some really terrifying armies. And this leads to one of the most epic heavyweight clashes in history. King Harsha, the unstoppable force from the north, decides to march his mighty army, complete with thousands of war elephants, south to expand his empire. But when he reaches the massive Narmada River, which acted like a giant natural moat, he is stopped dead in his tracks. By who? A brilliant and powerful king named Pulakeshin II of the Chalukya dynasty. Pulakeshin totally stood his ground to defend his home turf and actually forced Harsha's army to retreat. It's a massive historical lesson that proves no matter how powerful or wealthy an empire seems, they will always eventually run into an immovable object, someone equally determined to defend their home. Finally, Part 5, Becoming a History Detective. We've talked about epic battlefield rivalries and temples carved out of solid rock. But how do modern historians actually know all these specific details from 1,500 years ago? Well, an ancient historian named Kalhana left us a brilliant piece of advice about exactly how to uncover the truth. He wrote that a good historian is like a judge, and their words must remain free from love or hatred when telling the facts of the past. Think about what he's saying there. He's basically explaining that a truly great historian has to act exactly like a referee in a major sports game. Imagine if a referee wanted one specific team to win so badly that they just completely ignored the rules and made up points. No way, right? Kalhana says you can't just cheer for your favorite historical king or hide the mistakes of an empire. You have to call the game exactly as it happened. So, what does it really mean to be completely free from love or hatred? It means totally setting aside your personal feelings to uncover the absolute truth. And that brings us to the crucial question I want to leave you with today. If you were a history detective assigned to write the true, totally accurate story of your own school or your hometown right now, could you do it without playing favorites? Could you write down the facts completely free of love or hatred, even if your best friends were involved? Think about how hard that actually is. Keep that history detective spirit alive, and I will catch you in the next